All right, people, Mr. Wright here with lesson 28 for the trombone. Today we explore a different time signature called 3/4. The top number tells us that there's only 3 beats to each measure. The bottom number tells us that the quarter note receives the beat. Now you may be wondering, how does that bottom number thing work? How do you get quarter notes out of that? Well, think of the whole note as our standard complete note. And you take that bottom number and you divide it into that whole note, and whatever you get is the type of note that receives the beat. Like if you take a whole note and cut it into 4 parts, we're in 3/4, the bottom number is a 4, so you take that 4, divide it into our whole standard complete note, and you get 4 quarters. All right, 4 different parts, 4 quarters. If you had a 2 in the bottom, you would divide that whole note into 2 parts. The half note would receive the beat. If you had an 8 in the bottom, you would get eighth notes. The eighth note receives the beat. Although sometimes in 6/8 we conduct like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes the dotted quarter note receives the beat. A lot of times in 6/8 and in 12/8 and 9/8. But anyway, so that's what this time signature is all about. In every single measure, you're going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And notice that there's kind of an accent on the first beat of each measure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take this not at 80 beats per minute. I need to redo this. I'm going to play it at 134 and beats per minute. And again, you want to accent with the breath and a balanced tongue the beginning, the first beat of each measure, and it kind of locks the whole thing together when you're playing with an ensemble. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. How about 128? Yeah, and I need to turn this up a little bit so you can hear it. 1, 2, 3, And I forgot to mention, you want to pay attention to that key signature. We only have B flat and E flat in our key signature. All of our A's are A natural in second position. Very important to remember that. Every time you come to a new exercise, you want to remember that. But I did take 128 beats per minute on that one. And this next one, I'm not going to set the metronome at all. I'm going to play rather slow, about 104 really, maybe even slower there, because at the end of each phrase, I'm going to slow it down a little bit to make it a little more musical in places where it just seems like it needs to slow down. It does say adagio slowly. Adagio is like a slow walking speed. But I'm still going to try to accent the first beat of each measure as we come along with this. So, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 1, 3. Now, a neat thing that I did that I was noticing, sometimes when the notes didn't really want to speak, I would kind of angle the mouthpiece down off of that top lip so that top lip could vibrate easier, just to make sure that I didn't have to blow real hard to get the lips to vibrate. I was just able to kind of just angle it down a little bit, take pressure off of my lips, and then the lips could vibrate much more freely. And then I could be more expressive. Like at the end of different phrases, you'd hear that I'd slow down just a little bit to kind of dwell on that thought. You know, And that's what you want to do. In number 3, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. And again, all these A's are A natural. Ta 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 da dee da dee da da. Yeah, this is just rhythms that we play. And when I say bell tones, that's a burst of air balanced with the tongue. In your mind, you're going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. Let's try it. And you make sure you're not lazy with the tongue. And not put too much pressure on the mouthpiece, on your mouth with the mouthpiece. 1, ready? I ran out of music. I didn't realize this went on too long. 2 pages. Let me get this one where I can see it. Let me squish down the music a little bit. Yeah, I couldn't see it. I didn't have it scrolled up enough. I didn't realize it went to the second page. Okay. In number 3, we have rhythms that come from lesson 14, galloping forwards and backwards. So you've got in your mind, you're going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You've got to feel that in your heart as you're playing this. And of course, this goes on to the second page. Number 3, and don't be lazy with the tongue. And when I say play with bell tones, that's a burst of air balanced with the tongue. 1, ready? I wonder if I played 59, 60, 61, measure 62 right. I can't remember if I played it right or not. Different key signature. Ooh, B flat, E flat, and A flat. Starting at the 5th measure. 1, ready? Now, on that, you heard me do a little spia on that one note. I wasn't using my tongue strong enough. So that's what causes that. And here's a little bass line I wrote for it. It's not as good as the bass line that he came up with. But this is that first 4-measure introduction. So again, you want to have that emphasis on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. In my band kids, we would have the lower voices play this and the other part. It sounds cool together when you play the 2 together. So right there, the bass line. Ready? 1, ready? So that is lesson 28 for trombone.